Welcome to the tutorial for Devastator for Mega CD. I consider these Sega CD games, so I put them in the Sega CD category on my playthroughs. But yeah, this was never released in the US. I don't know if it was released in Europe, but definitely not in the US. It seems like it may be Japanese only. It's a very good game for Sega CD. I mean, there's not a lot of high quality games on the system. Though there's some really great games, but you know, it's not a large number like Genesis or the other main consoles of the time. But yeah, I'll try to detail what's going on. I did watch through the segment, so it refreshed my memory a little bit, so I should be able to explain it pretty well. The game has unlimited continues, and you can set it to 9 lives, so you do have checkpoints. You usually have about 2 or 3 checkpoints in each level. One before the boss and maybe a midway checkpoint. So if you lose any of your lives, you'll start from one of the checkpoints with full life. But if you lose all your lives, then you start at the beginning of the stage. But you do have unlimited continues. The final stage has no checkpoints, so you have to. It's a boss rush, so you have to beat all 3 bosses without dying. That's the trickiest part. The game can be pretty challenging. It took me about 4 hours and 10 minutes to beat. So it's definitely not an easy game. It can be a little tricky at times. You have basically just a jump and a shot, so it's pretty basic. You can shoot up. There is some kind of dashing rush move where you can like ram into enemies, it seems, but I've only done it a few times and I've seen it in videos, but I don't end up using it. Like I accidentally did it a few times in the video, but yeah, and you're going to see that, like, at checkpoints, you'll see my life refill sometimes. That's because I edited out the deaths for this video, so that's why that happens. And every time you die, your weapon that you have it'll power down 1. It'll degrade by 1. So if you die several times with the same weapon, it can degrade to nothing, pretty much, and then you'll just have your grappling hook. For this guy, I just got right on his back and started jamming the button, and that killed him. So I do pull some bullshit on some of the bosses. And the techniques you see here, they should work, so you may want to reference back to the video. I haven't seen any tutorials of this game at all. I have seen one playthrough, I think, on YouTube. But you can definitely, these techniques are pretty reliable, a lot of them. So you should be able to duplicate what you see here. Later on the last level, I set the emulator to rapid fire on the fire button. You know, just to not have to keep mashing the button the whole time. But until then, I just basically you know, mashed the attack button. My favorite weapon is the laser weapon, but you're going to see early on that I don't really know the weapons, and I'm not really familiar in the early stages with the weapons and shit like that. I just kind of just played through. Of course, later on, as I die more, then I'm forced to become more familiar with the mechanics. That's why you see in the first level I was kind of fucking around in the beginning, just trying to see what the controls were, because I beat that on the first continue, I believe, so I never had to restart the level. That's one thing to keep in mind with this, is that you only see the successful runs of each area. So if I beat an area quickly, then it's not going to be refined. It's just going to be whatever ended up going down when I beat it. And you'll see some of the later gameplays more refined because I died a lot and I had to practice those sections a lot. So, though I was pretty sloppy on the final level, but it was good enough. I made up for it later in the level. Though it's kind of strange how things ended. I died at the same time I killed the final boss, and the game actually restarted briefly, and then it gave me the ending. It was odd. So it's kind of interesting to see that. But yeah, so you basically just be saying, you know, because I had better runs of some of the areas, but then of course I fucked it up, so those runs didn't get posted. But yeah, so basically I would say get the L weapon, the one that says L. Just get that, and if you get that 3 or 4 times, you'll get the laser up to power 4. See, that's the dash move, which I was doing accidentally, but I don't even know how to do it. I have no idea how I did it, but yeah, the laser move. There is no FAQ for this game or guide that I could find, so I don't. You know, I had to figure out the controls myself. So if there's any other moves, I don't know about them. I did check some videos. The only other move I noticed was the dash. But yeah, the laser weapon, the L, I think that's the best weapon. And you know, Some people may want to use different weapons for different scenarios, but I found the laser good for everything, so I didn't have a problem with just playing the game normally with it. But yeah, if you get it like 3 times or something, you'll power up your laser to 4, and that's the max. And then once you do that, if you shoot the power-ups, you can change them into whatever you want. They'll change every time you shoot them. And if you shoot the power-up, it always starts on laser, I believe, and if you shoot it like 3 times, you'll get life. And sometimes you're going to want to shoot it just so you can get health back. You'll see me doing that later. For this, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just get out of his way and shoot at those things on his sides. I think you may be able to shoot up at him, too, because he has those little bulbs on the bottom and top, too. But I think I just shot at his sides. For this part, you can probably go all the way to the right and just stay at the right edge of the screen. I don't know if it'll work on the left edge of the screen, but I think you may be able to stay on the right edge when he shoots all those projectiles and they come raining down. And the reason I say that is because you fight this guy again, though it's more of a shooter level, but when you do, you can stay all the way at the right, and those things can't hit you. So I'm assuming you can stay at the right. I just didn't know about it at this point. This is a pretty quick, this guy didn't take too long to beat, so I didn't know about those techniques. Maybe you only can hit him in the side, because I saw I hit him on the bottom. It didn't seem to do anything. But yeah, when he's starting to move, you're either going to stay on the bottom or get up on the top and jump around him, depending on how high or how low he is when he comes rolling. But you'll be able to predict, because when he moves quickly to one edge of the screen, that means he's going to come at it that side and start rolling towards you. So it's pretty predictable. Of course, if the snake comes out, try to deal with the snake and get rid of it, because then, it's going to be a problem. And I think the boss may not come back out until the snake is dealt with. But yeah, it's pretty easy. And this is your first shooter level. It's basically just a standard shooter. Though your sprite is a lot bigger than, your standard spaceship, so you'd have to be careful. But these levels aren't too hard. Just get the power-ups that you need and just dodge everything pretty much. There won't be too much to say with this. Yeah, towards the end is tricky because you have to beat all 3 bosses on 1 life. You do get pretty much like 2 cubits of health that you can get back after each boss that you defeat. So you can pretty much take like 2 hits, you can take 2 hits of damage pretty much on every boss fight and still have, maintain full life. But it can be tricky. There's a few parts that are a little hard not to get hit on. The final form of the boss, the last boss, I really don't know how to avoid his spread shot that he does. There's another shot he does that's pretty easy to avoid if you know it's coming, but there's a shot where he spreads bullets all over the screen, and I never really learned how to consistently dodge it. So my technique was to try to have enough health remaining so that I could fuck up a few times and still, trade hits with him and still win, pretty much. That's what I end up doing. And I do end up dying at the same time as the final boss, but the game gave me credit for beating it. So that was good. I thought I was going to have to start the level over again, which would be annoying. I was quite exhausted when I was doing my final attempt, so I was getting kind of sloppy. But that's the attempt that ended up making it through, so that's what got posted. But yeah, this is real basic. I don't know if there's any checkpoints on this level aside from right before the boss. There may not be any checkpoints in the level, but I think there's a checkpoint right before the boss. So if you fuck up on the boss, I think you can start, right previous to him. And if you set the lives to 9, you'll have plenty of attempts to try him and practice him. For some of the harder bosses, I used save and load state practice to learn them. But yeah, this game's quite good. I was surprised how good it was because this company's made some pretty shitty games from what I remember. Like Wolfchild, I remember being pretty sloppy feeling. I didn't like it. And they made that. Though I think they did make Soul Feast as well, which is actually quite a good shooter. So I guess they've made some other, good games. I don't know how many, but I know Soul Feast and this are quite good. So I was, pretty surprised to find a game I didn't know about on Sega CD. Not a US game, but still. For this, you're just going to, you want to have your laser weapon. That's what I recommend that for pretty much everything. And you're just going to want to dodge these missiles and try to shoot them down when you can. And then here I kind of got sloppy with dodging the hands initially. I don't think I really learned how to do it. But it's easy once you get into the rhythm. You know, you can see when they're about to move, just move up or down and you'll dodge it. And then after the hands are done, I think they go a little faster when the legs come off. But then after that, just watch where these pods position themselves and get in between and keep shooting at that body. That's all you got to do for that. It's quite easy. The hitbox are pretty generous. A lot of times, parts of your legs and hit your head won't take damage from certain things. So, you know, you'll get kind of used to that. So it does kind of make up for your guy being so bulky. So you do get a little leniency with that. You'll see things passing through my sprite later on that don't end up hurting me. So it's useful to know that. I don't always do it intentionally, but it works out in my favor anyway. But yeah, for this, this level can be kind of tricky. This is one of the harder levels. This is where the game starts to get more challenging for the first time, pretty much. For these guys, just wait for them to turn around and shoot them in the back. That's what you're going to be doing most of the time with these guys. You know, of course, kill those pods. Certain shooting pods will give you like power-ups and shit, so it's good to know which ones do that. Like this one, I think. Yeah, see, this gives you power-up. So here I just got the laser. Even though I could have used a piece of life, I went with the laser because, you know, I figured that was going to... I could get life later, so that would benefit me more in the meantime. So this guy, shoot him in the back. And, you know, use your grappling hook with the it's a shorter range hit, but use that with the gun to kill the guys faster. Because they do take, you know, multiple hits. They'll die fast if you use both the laser and the grappling hook. Not really a grappling hook, but it, you know, it looks like a grappling hook, but it's really a weapon. But yeah, and there will be a checkpoint, which you'll probably see it. The edit probably won't be that smooth, so you'll probably see a transition where the checkpoint is. Look for those editing transitions so that if you want to know where the checkpoints are, because I may not always mention them while I'm trying to explain stuff. Those blue mosquito things are invincible, so you can't kill them, and if you touch them, they hurt you, of course, and they shoot a lot. Well, they don't shoot a lot, but it's enough with all the other bullshit going on. You know, it can be a pain in the ass. This part's kind of tricky. It took me, you know, several attempts to get through. I think there's a checkpoint coming up. It's good to know when to try to run through something and when to fight in this level. Okay, actually, we probably passed the checkpoint already. This is definitely a checkpoint. I think there's another checkpoint somewhere in the level, but I probably passed it. I may have not died and had to use it. I'm not sure if I had to use it in this level. On this run, I used it, you know, prior attempts, but... So this guy, of course, you just shoot him in the back. What's not shown in this video is that I think I went back down and killed those shooting pod guys to get power up. So that's not shown because I edited it out when I edited out the deaths on the boss. So just keep in mind that some of the backtracking sometimes is edited out when I went back to get a power up or something. For this guy, I mostly went below him and shot up at his head. Or around his head area. You'll see because he'll flash when he takes damage. Maybe around his claw, actually. Around his claw area. I think that's where he gets hurt. It's a weird weak point. It's like around his claw. It's bizarre. But yeah, so I got under him and I would fire up and then I would try to clear out the flies and then just jump over the boulders and repeat. Of course, when he goes down, you want to get out of there. But yeah, doing it that way, it was pretty simple. It's still a little tricky. I mean, I still can't, you know, I still took a lot of hits. I don't know if the head can hurt you once the guy's pretty much dead, but I always avoid that kind of shit anyway, because, you know, no sense taking a hit. I'm skipping the cutscenes when I played this. I wasn't watching the cutscenes. I did leave in the final cutscene after I beat the game, but I fast-forwarded through the credits. I don't really have the patience to let that run while I'm recording. I really don't play games for the story, you know. I will show some stuff sometimes, but I get impatient. So yeah, for these plant things, you shoot them and they'll go back down. They'll retract down. So sometimes you want to shoot them so you can move through easier. This weapon I probably got on accident because you're trying to grab shit quickly because you're moving automatically. Sometimes it's hard to get what you want. So I'll just grab the power-ups. I mean, it's not that hard anyway. If you have the wrong weapon, it's not going to really matter that much. Kill those laser things. Whenever those appear, you want to get to the base of them or wherever they are and just take them out immediately. Because then you'll have to take a hit by going through it. But yeah, pretty basic shooter gameplay on the stage section. If you can, you may want to try to shoot those things to power up several times so that you can get life. You may want the life. There is a checkpoint, I think, partially. Yeah, there's a checkpoint, like, partially in the level. I think it's around here. Yeah, this is the checkpoint right here. See where I edited it? That's where I died. So that's the checkpoint. So if you get there, you get a checkpoint. And then I think there may be another checkpoint right before the boss, or this may be I think this may be the boss. No, maybe not. But there's definitely another checkpoint near the boss. So you pretty much have the mid level checkpoint or whatever it is, and then you got one right before the boss. So, like I said, this level's really not too hard if you're, even somewhat familiar with shooters. I mean, it can feel a little clunky with the large character, but it's somewhat generous with the hitbox, with the damage you take. I get a little life back there. Basically just want to kill everything that appears and, keep the path clear by shooting those plants and taking out those laser things. I'm not sure exactly what the best way to avoid taking a hit there would be. A lot of shit appears. I'm sure there's a better way to do it than just taking the hit. So now you see another edit. This is where the next checkpoint is, right at the boss. For this, you just shoot at the eye, and then when the lasers come out, it's usually better to get below the guy. I was doing it kind of dangerous there. Watch out for those pods, those floating jellyfish at the top, because they'll explode and they drop a bunch of bullets. And then there's another thing that shoots at the top, very dangerous. So keep an eye on all that. And when the lasers come out, it's good to try to get underneath him if you can. Actually, on this part, I don't know if you really have enough room to get underneath him. I was doing that for the... You have to fight him again at the end of the game. I was doing it for that. But maybe for this, that might... I guess it depends. Sometimes he's up high. I guess when he's up higher, you can get underneath him sometimes. And it makes it easier to avoid the lasers. You'll see me do it later. This part can be tricky. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, by pressing B, you can turn around. You just can't press it while you're firing. It won't work. But, yeah, so for this, you just have to, like, shoot this guy, and it's better if you move in a circular motion, but I wasn't very good at it at this point. But you basically just, you pretty much do what you see me doing, moving around in a circular motion, and, I never really got that good at this guy, but yeah, you turn around and shoot as you're moving kind of in a circular, and you just keep shooting him. When he stops, he's going to do some kind of charge move where he does like a charge into you. Just be ready for that and dodge it. It's pretty slow, but you do have to keep it in mind. But yeah, not too hard. It's harder at the end because you have to do 3 bosses in a row. It makes it kind of an endurance event. So if you only have a few pieces of health left, then you may not have much left for the boss, the final boss, which can be tough because the final boss has like 3 forms. Though I have a cheap trick for the second form that you'll see. But yeah, this level can be a little tricky, mainly because of the boss. The level itself is not really that difficult if you play it, carefully. You may want to kill this guy and get a power up, maybe a laser or whatever you need. You probably won't need health at this point, but because it does refill your health when you start the level. There's also 2 checkpoints on this level, which I'll point out. You'll see the editing is not that smooth, so you'll be able to see where they're at. I was playing this pretty shitty at this point, but it was good enough to beat the level. I've done, much better on this part, where I didn't take a lot of damage, but I was just playing kind of shitty. Like I said, I had it set to 9 lives, so as long as I was able to make it to one of the checkpoints, I, had a good amount of attempts. So, it didn't really matter as long as I made. That's the checkpoint. You get the checkpoint pretty early in the level, which is kind of, it's kind of strange. It's not much of a help. But maybe that is the halfway point of the level. I'm not sure. It seems kind of early though. But there will be another checkpoint at the end. Even though those guys are constantly flashing, it's weird because you would think that meant they're taking damage or something. But no, they just keep flashing. The only way to hurt them is by shooting them in the back. But you've dealt with them in that sand level, so nothing new. Just keep shooting here to take out these flies, whatever the fuck they are. And then that'll give you, plenty of room to dodge the spinning things. It's easy. You may want to duck occasionally like you see me doing. You can also shoot up, which I think that's the only time I really used it on that one part. I don't remember using it for anything else, really. You want to fall to the left there because, as you saw, there's spikes on the right, so you don't want to fall on those. Here you can get some life back if you need it, or you can power up your laser. Whenever there's power-ups, you can basically choose what you want, which is good because you can, you don't have to get some predetermined power-up that you don't need. Yeah, so here you just want to shoot these guys in the back, obviously. You can take them out quickly and you'll get 2 power-ups here, so, whatever you need, just get it. This is the next checkpoint. This is right before the boss. So you'll see, I died there, so that's why it's edited. I may have even died several times because my lives are down to 7. So, but so here I'll explain what I did here. When he shoots out these blue waves, you want to get in between the blue wave and the boss, right where that gap is, and then just keep jumping and shooting. If you're in between, the blue thing won't be able to hit you because you'll be in that gap. For the next thing that he does, not this, but the next thing that he did after that, where the stars appear and then damage appears, you want to just keep walking left and right, and you'll just, as long as you're constantly moving, you'll dodge these as long as you're constantly moving. These star things. And then this is a little tricky. You want to wait. You're going to see that those balls kind of close in and then they spread apart again. When they spread apart again is when the beam comes out. It's a little tricky. It's not when you would think it would be. So, you would think like when they combine and close in, that's when it's going to fire. But no, it's a little bit after that. So just, see they spread out again and then they fire. And then you just want to jump. And I try to jump the length of it to get out of there. And then, you do the same thing with these blue things, that you did in the beginning. You just get between the gap and just jump up and hit them. Because you can only hit them in the head. And he just repeats these patterns. Once you get this down to some basic muscle memory, it's just, it's easy. He'll just do the same things again and again. Like a lot of these old games, you can memorize patterns and stuff. So, yeah, once you got it down, it's easy. The final boss is similar to this, but he's trickier. But yeah, so this stage, I think this is the final stage. Yeah, this is the final stage. So, yeah, like I said, there's no checkpoints in this stage, so I recommend using save and load state to practice all the bosses if you need to. I had to practice to get decent at it. Mainly had to practice the final boss. So yeah, for this guy, it's going to be similar to when you fought him, but it's quite a bit different because now you're in a shooter-style level instead of on foot, so it really changes the way it plays out. Remember that when the snake comes out, for this, stay all the way to the right. You cannot take damage if you're all the way in the right corner. You don't have to shoot. It's optional. When he gets close like that, just keep shooting at him, and then when the snake comes out, remember that the body can't hurt you when the snake comes out. So you can touch his body and not take any damage when the snake comes out. So just focus on the snake. So you shoot this a few times, the snake's going to come out. Now just focus on the snake. Don't worry about his body. He can't hurt you. Sometimes he will kind of crush me against the edge. See, I took damage unnecessarily, but sometimes he will crush me against the edge. with his body when the snake comes out. I don't know why that happens sometimes. But for the most part, if you see him getting too close, then just move out. But usually I would beat this without taking damage, but I was starting to get sloppy here. I was tired by this point. But you'll see me do the patterns plenty of times to where you'll know what you have to do here. If you see him rush to one edge of the screen, see he rushed to the right edge, that means he's going to come from the right edge. He may either come up or down. It depends. I think it may depend where you're located. I'm not sure. But it's very easy to see it coming. Once you know he's coming out of the edge of the screen, you have plenty of time to react. So just stay on the bottom or the top, depending if he's high or low. And you're just going to keep repeating this with this pattern. There's really no need to take damage here, but it's all right if you get hit twice because you can get 2 life power-ups, which will refill you back to full health if you got hit twice. Also, you want to have your laser at 4 if you can. You want to have your laser maxed out. You can pretty much do that just by beating this guy and then like getting the laser power-up and dying. Getting 2 laser power-ups and then dying. Because then you'll get a free laser power-up and you'll get it back up to 4 again. So it's very easy to have your weapon powered up. The game pretty much gives it to you. So yeah, for this it's going to be similar to how you fought him. It's pretty much the same fight again. I think it's the exact same fight pretty much again. I don't think there's any changes. It can be dangerous though because there's a lot of shit that comes out. And I got kind of sloppy here as well. But I was still able to get to the final boss with full health, so, you know. I ended up doing very well on the head snake. So that's what allowed me to have full health. Remember that you want to hit with your grappling hook looking thing as well as your laser. Because that does a lot of extra damage. That's why you want to get close to the enemies and hit them when you can. But yeah, just be aware when this guy blows up, all those other things are going to blow up too and shoot out a bunch of shit everywhere. So just be ready for that. For this, you kind of just follow the snake in a circular motion. You see here I did it very well and then get hit. It's kind of just getting a feel for it. It can be tricky with all the little shit that comes out while you're... there's a lot of bullets that come out while you're trying to move around. So you got to try to dodge those. You really don't want to lose too much health here because then you get, if you get down to 1 piece of health, then you only have 3 health for the boss. It's better to try to have... 3 health is enough to beat the boss, but it's going to be close if you're not good at especially the final form. A lot of times I can't beat the final form with just 3 pieces of health, but I think I did end up doing it here because I fucked up on the boss. But I die at the same time as the boss. So yeah, for this, you see when he shoots out those blue things that home in on you? What I do for that is I stay on the left upper edge of the screen. And then, as soon as the blue homing thing is about to hit me, I move all the way to the top of the screen, then start moving right immediately. See, look, it's like that. And that's how I dodge those. It's a lot easier than trying to weave in and out of them. Now, I'm not going to be explaining them in time with the shots, because like you said, it's happening too fast for me to explain. But I'll try to explain everything. See, for the blue things, you do what I said. I fucked it up there, but it's not always perfect. For those yellow things, you want to wait till they're just about to fire out and then start moving. Kind of like, I think you had to deal with them before. Those orange balls can be a pain in the ass. You want to just kind of watch where they're going and be ready to move up and get in that gap. It's a little tricky. A lot of this is just muscle memory shit. Like, if you've got to practice this boss, I definitely want to practice this. For that, stay in the bottom left corner. Whenever he shoots that spread shot shit, just stay in the bottom left. You won't get hit. It's a safe spot. And for this, just stay here. I like to stay right here, and you can take this guy out real fast like this. Just be ready to move. When that shit's about to shoot out, be ready to move up or down so you don't get hit by that stream. And then for the next one, you can move either down or up immediately, and you won't get hit by the second stream. But I didn't do it right. So it's not a very good demonstration. Now this is going to get really fucking sloppy. See, he does the spread shot. Most of the time, I don't dodge that spread shot. And I even get hit by some easy bullshit, I think. But when he does the straight stream, that's the easiest one to dodge. He does about 4 streams. And that's the easiest one to dodge. So it's good when he does that. As long as you're expecting it. Sometimes it catches me off guard, as you saw. It's hard to know what he's going to do. But you see, I died at the same time that he died. So that pretty much, It's actually started me over on the level, see? And now it says stage clear. And I didn't edit that part at all, so that's just, it was kind of like a glitch. I guess the game gave me credit, so that was cool. I guess as long as you kill the boss, even if you die at the same time, you'll probably get credit. Though I only did that once, so I didn't test it. But yeah, it's just like, it's good to practice the final boss a lot with save and load states, because it's definitely a muscle memory type of game. You know, learning the patterns and getting used to them. The last boss is the trickiest. But if you practice that second form and stay behind him like I did, you'll see it's pretty easy to dodge that stream. You just have to know when to move up to be able to dodge that first stream of yellow fire that he shoots out. The timing is the same as it was when you fought the similar guy previously when he uses those yellow things. Like the yellow balls close in, and then as soon as they come back out again, that's when he fires. It's a little weird timing, but you know, you get used to it. Yeah, and that's about it. Hopefully that helped you with the game. If you have any questions about it or any requests or anything like that, let me know, and thanks for watching.